Hey, Kinksters. I'm pleased to say that Sofia Gray has got the perfect gift for you, our favorite friends of the podcast. Starting in March, use the promo code SGSHOW at checkout for 10% off all seller memberships and buyer coins packages on sofiagray.com. That's SGSHOW. Thanks so much for listening, and now on with the show.
The Sofia Gray Show.
Hello, listeners and kinky friends. Welcome to the Sofia Gray Show, where we discuss all things sex, kinks, and fetishes. From the sex stories to the latest trends in the erotic world, we talk taboo transparently. This podcast is brought to you by Sofia Gray, the largest used underwear marketplace. I'm your host, Lacey Bloom, and today, I'm pleased to say, is the final day that you will be stuck listening to me and only me, because that's right, my darling friend Tracy Bust will return in next week's episode. I don't know who's more excited, me or everybody else listening at home that's just tired of listening to me. So I completely understand. I'm a huge fan of podcasters who are able to produce a show solely by themselves, but I know how much fun it is to listen to more than one person because Tracy and I have so much fun when we're recording together. A lot more fun than I do recording all alone. So in the meantime, I'm so excited for the topic today because we are talking about OnlyFans. Now, I'm sure many of you are so familiar with OnlyFans at this point in time. I'm sure like many of my friends, once the pandemic hit, there was a sudden influx of people wanting to create content online and having a whole lot of time to do it. So OnlyFans has become an extremely popular content sharing platform, and it's got a very simple premise. Creators monetize their content by selling directly to their fans for the cost of a monthly subscription. I think the best way to describe OnlyFans is it's Netflix for people you follow online. If anybody's checked out the fabulous documentary they've got on OnlyFans, I think it's streaming on Hulu at this point. They mention in it that unlike social media influencers who are trying to promote a product, when it comes to OnlyFans, the product is the content creator themselves. So I'm a big fan of OnlyFans. I know we've talked about paying for our porn and supporting content creators, and this is something that's very important to me. So I think that's one of the major reasons that if you're not already on OnlyFans or following any OnlyFans creators, you should definitely give it a go, because really it's a great way to support the creators that you love. They put so much work into every article you read, every picture you see, every video you watch, and that takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of time. It takes some money to do it. So the best thing that we can do as the fans is give back. Now, if you're thinking about creating an OnlyFans account for yourself, let's talk details, because I have got some fabulous tips and tricks straight from OnlyFans creators. You can also find these tips and tricks and more on sofiagray.com. We have a wonderful blog written by some fantastic writers, and they have some amazing tips and tricks that they have collected. So, if you're thinking about starting an OnlyFans account, here are some things to think about. 1, have at least one social media where you can promote your page. Now, if anybody out there is in any sort of entertainment or content creation, that makes perfect sense. You definitely want to broaden your net, see how many people you can bring in. I would say that the best place to start for promoting your page would be Twitter. Mostly because Twitter is one of the few not suitable for work-friendly social media sites out there. Instagram and TikTok are pretty good too, but I think you will need to adapt your content to make sure that they are suitable for work, or at least suitable for work by Instagram or TikTok standards. There's also sites like YouTube, Periscope to have more exposure. But, keep in mind that when it comes to social media, anybody can find you. It's just like cam sites. Anyone can find you. The upside is you've got the exposure. The downside is you will definitely have perhaps more exposure than you wanted. Just something to keep in mind. We always want to make sure that we're being safe. Number 2, find user-friendly editing platforms to make your content look good. We've said it before, as far as creating content or camming or selling your panties on sofiagray.com. There's a lot of work that goes into producing this content. So if you're taking pictures and you want to make sure that they look great so that you can bring in as many fans as possible, an editing platform makes perfect sense. So here's one OnlyFans creator, Emily Kelly, who recommends a mobile editing app called Power Director. Emily Kelly says it's one of the only mobile apps she's found that lets you do the pan zoom thing. So you can add subtle movement to your video shots and make it look less static webcam on a tripod, which is great because especially if you're a user or creator living alone, it's probably difficult to film yourself. So that's a great tip and something that I'm definitely going to keep in mind for my own solo efforts. Number 3, running specials helps. This tip comes from Jezebel. Love the name. And Jezebel gives some examples saying that 30% off for a week that lasts 1 month, giving expired users a discount helps too, but can be challenging to perfectly master with the way that their stuff is set up. She also mentions that she's heard some women have success with offering free content to those who have auto renew on, but she hasn't actually tried that personally. One of the specials that Jezebel has offered and recommends is offering free stuff to her top 10 to 12 subscribers, which I think can be very motivating. I think we have this tendency as human beings to thrive off competition. So to know that you're one of the top fans for somebody, I think would be really invigorating. Jezebel also says that she does this thing where she'll share the beginning of a naughty story for free and offer the rest for $3. So for me, I know that would totally work. I am someone who is addicted to clickbait. Don't come at me. I know it's a problem. I'm working on it. But I think that's a great way to get people invested. You get them reading, and then, to read on and to finish the story, they have to pay a little something extra. And why not? You deserve it. You deserve, to be paid for the work that you're creating. Number 4, be consistent even if you post irregularly. Okay, this is something that, again, we've talked about on the podcast before. It's really important that if you are trying to create a brand for yourself, be it a sexy brand or otherwise, you have to be consistent in one way or another. So maybe it's taking sexy selfies every day, every other day. I know that when I'm creating content for some of my other work, I'll have days where I'll take a bunch of pictures and I'll just keep them as a backlog for when those days come that you're super busy or you're not feeling your hottest. And I think that's a great idea. And then maybe once a week or every other week, you put out something that's a little higher quality, like a video or a secret show that you're putting on or a sexy story that you've written. I think being consistent, this is something that we advocate for if you're selling your panties on sofiagray.com as well, is the more consistent you are, the more you're interacting with your fans and your users, that's definitely going to make you much, much more popular. Number 5, the more paid content with others you can get, the better. I think that's a great idea. I know, speaking as a podcaster, you'll notice that a lot of the guests we've had in the past have been other podcasters. And what's great about that is it gives us a chance to branch out and connect with a whole new audience, and our guest has the chance to do the same thing. So it makes sense to do that with other content creators who are out here trying to do the same thing you are. Think of it less as competition and more as having someone that knows exactly what you're going through, and they can relate. You can share in the glory and hopefully get a few new followers too. Number 6, get creative with your looks and have fun with it. I love that. I know that one of my favorite content creators on OnlyFans, she does a lot of different costumes and themes. She'll pick a different theme for every month and depending on whether it's Halloween or the holiday season, try to match some of her looks to that theme. So, you can have fun with it. Try different toys, props, wigs. I'm a huge fan of wigs, let me tell you. But whatever it is, keep it interesting. It's something fun and exciting. I think especially when it comes to events like Valentine's Day, I know we've got St. Patrick's Day coming up, any of the holidays, even a birthday, that might be a great theme and way to celebrate and keep things fun and interesting and different. Number 7, support other creators because community is always a very good idea. Now, this note comes from OnlyFans creator Autumn Red, and this kind of ties right back in with the note about the more paid content you're creating with others, the better, because this really is a community. As with any atmosphere or group or club that you're joining, this is something that you have the opportunity to compete with other creators, or you have the opportunity to support other creators. So don't be afraid that other creators are going to steal your clientele, because I think that it's the opposite. It's more of a snowball effect. The more that you interact, the more exposure that you get. And a lot of subscribers will get to know you because a fellow creator might have recommended you, or vice versa. This is coming directly from OnlyFans creators. No one is going to steal subscribers from you. In fact, OnlyFans consumers will usually subscribe to more than one person because, as we know, variety is always more fun. So don't let that deter you if you find yourself comparing you or your page or the content that you're creating with others. I know I have a bad habit of doing that as well. I don't know if it's the fact that I'm an artist or the fact that I'm a woman, but instead of comparing yourself with others, just try to take some inspiration from what other people are creating and either ask if you can be a part of it or create your own content, because chances are somebody is saying the same thing about your page. They are loving your page and what you're putting out there more than what they are. So it's all about community, and in this day and age, we need community now more than ever. Number 8, let's talk about photography. So my advice is to look up photography tips to ensure that lighting is flattering. That's important. We all know how important a good, flattering photo is, because overall, you want to get the best photos. You want to make sure your lighting is good and intentional. The most flattering light will always be well balanced, but also, I think you can have fun with it. So I am a huge fan and always have been of Pinterest, and Emily Kelly apparently is too, because she also recommends Pinterest and YouTube for photography tips, lighting tips, and also recommends that, in addition to what you're finding online and trying to replicate, it's important to experiment and find out what works best for you, because who knows, you might discover something that nobody else is doing, and maybe your new lighting scheme will be the one that everybody else wants too. Number 9. This is important. This is when it comes to the business side of things. Use the system to your advantage. Once again, my girl Emily Kelly is weighing in with some advice from her own personal experiences. So Emily writes, I ran a reward scheme for a little while that I'm bringing back, which worked great. OnlyFans tells you who your top fan of the month is, so I ran it as top fan gets the next month free, or, something similar to that. The second and third place get half price. You can offer exclusive content to them too. If you tell your fans that the top fan is dependent on engagement, then they know what to look for and it gets them liking and commenting on everything, which boosts your percentage as a creator. So that's a great tip, because I think what's really important is whether or not you decide that you want to start creating for OnlyFans or any other website, whether it's a camming site or an app, you definitely want to know how the business is being run. We already know that OnlyFans takes a percentage cut of what creators make, and I feel like that's pretty much the same across most sites. When it comes to social media, it's not quite the same. However, social media also isn't protecting you. So if you know that money is being taken away from you by being a part of a site, you definitely want to figure out, well, what can I do to make up for this? I know that every time I accept a freelance job, I know, oh, well, there's going to be a percentage that gets taken out for taxes. I bet you didn't think I was going to talk about taxes on a kink podcast, but there you go. So it's something to think about of how can I make sure that I'm taking advantage in a good way of the system that I'm a part of, and not in a way of like taking advantage of any of your supporters or fans, because they're there to support you. They love your work. They want to see you succeed, and they want to see what you're creating, and they want more of it. It's why they're paying. If you're telling them up front that the top fan will get the next month free or half price or whatever it might be, and the way that person will be determined is through engagement, of course you're going to see people becoming more and more engaged. I know that would work for me. So that's a great tip. And in general, just a note to know as much as you can about whatever site, whatever app you are creating for, because you can't use the system to your advantage until you know what the system is. And finally, my final tip of the day, number 10, this is so important. And speaking as somebody who works in social media a lot of the time off of this podcast, I know how important this is. Add your watermark, logo, or social media handles to everything. First of all, it's great advertising. Remember how we talked about having social media accounts like Twitter or Instagram or TikTok to be able to share your content to? This is exactly tying into that. If you're sharing your content, but there's nothing on there telling people where to go or who you are, they're not going to have any idea where to go from here. So on video teasers, I think it's a great idea to add your social links and logo at the end for a few seconds so people know where to find you. It might also mean putting the logo in the corners of your videos and images. This is also to make sure that nobody's stealing the content that you're creating. You're creating this content. You deserve the attention and the dues for the work that you are getting done. So it's a great way for people to link back to your site, to your OnlyFans account, and know that you are the one producing this. And also it's a great way to spread the word about who you are and what you're making. Now, you might have noticed that recently we've published several new blogs about the OnlyFans experience, from deep dive articles to understanding the ins and outs of setting up an account. So, beyond these 10 tips, I definitely want to recommend that you check those out. And I will leave you with a couple more tips that come from Leo, who's a normal 20-year-old guy who absolutely blew up on OnlyFans, reaching the point where he made over $50,000 in 1 month on the platform. And he created a video that is all about the OnlyFans Bible, in which he breaks down how he made that much money. So here are a few tips straight from Leo, the OnlyFans Bible. And starting with, if you like and comment on my last 10 posts, I'll send you blank. So this is another great incentive that ties into some of our earlier recommendations. Adding captions to your post that tell your audience to like, comment, engage with your profile because there's something that they're getting in return for it. That's a great way to boost your stats. Another one is to promote your profile on Instagram, although Leo adds promoting it carefully. So again, tying back into the not suitable for work social media sites versus the suitable for work sites. So Instagram is one where it's a great resource. However, there's a lot of shadow banning and suspended accounts. I think we've seen it for various reasons on Instagram. And that's such a hassle. But if you can figure out a way to share suitable for work content, maybe it's a teaser, a preview, anything that, isn't going to get you banned, i.e. nudity, that would be a great way to also draw in fans. And hey, an extra bonus is if you're already on Twitter or TikTok, you're expanding to a new site. So another tip from Leo is to design or hire someone to design a nice header and profile picture. So your profile is eye-catching and appealing. I think this is a great tip. And I also think to add on to that, remember how I mentioned the watermark and logo being added to all of your posts? I think this would be a great opportunity to have somebody design your logo as well. If that's not something that you feel comfortable doing. But whatever it is, you want to make sure that your profile looks official, beautiful, well thought out, because it's the first glimpse into your content and you want it to capture the eye and appeal to a mass audience. And then the final tip that I will leave with you from Leo is paid shoutouts usually pay off. So if you are able to arrange a shout out for, a shout out thing where maybe you promote each other, that's fantastic. However, Leo does want to advise that some accounts charge for paid shout outs and suggest that this can really be worth it. Even if you're hesitating over, paying money for the paid shout out, it can be worth it. Not always, but if you break even, the return on investment is usually good. So Leo suggests doing this sparingly as you don't want your account to come across as only a promo account. I mean, I think we all follow accounts like that on Instagram and Twitter where it just feels like spam after a while. So I think it's all about finding the right balance, finding that if you are shouting out or promoting somebody else's content or another product, you're doing it with intention. You're doing it because you really like their work, or you see the fact that they're attracting a whole set of prospective clients that you're not getting. This would be a great way for you to broaden your engagement, and vice versa. Make sure that they're also promoting you too. But I think when it comes to, whether it's OnlyFans or Sofia Gray or what have you, you have to understand that this is an investment. If you really, really want to make a career out of this to the point where you're somebody like Leo making thousands of dollars in 1 month, you definitely need to be prepared to put in some work, put in some cash, and if you do, I think the return investment could be great. I know that I've become a devout fan of OnlyFans, and I love that there are people creating work, and more importantly, I love that people are paying for this, and not just a few people. We're talking over 30 million users and 450 plus thousand content creators. Keep in mind, OnlyFans, while it's known in not suitable for work circles, it is home to all kinds of content creators. So you might find some of your favorite bloggers, models, chefs, celebrities, what have you. I happen to love Cardi B's page on OnlyFans. So there's a lot of opportunities for growth. If you're thinking, I don't know if I want to start a not suitable for work content account on OnlyFans, but maybe I want to try something else, it's there for that as well. My advice, as with most things, is to do your research. You know how sexy Tracy and I find education and research. So before you sign up, before you start creating content, think about what it is that you want to do your research, and if you do find yourself starting an OnlyFans account, give us a shout, because you better believe I want to check that shit out.
Whether you're looking to buy or sell used panties, Sofia Gray has got you covered. If you want to earn some extra cash, you can set up your own shop in minutes and start selling your own used underwear. And they take no commission. You'll keep 100% of every single sale that you make.
If you've got a kink for used panties and you're looking to buy your next pair, look no further. The whole process is completely anonymous. Sofia Gray will never share, store, or archive your personal information. The name Sofia Gray won't even appear on your bank receipt. So head on over to sofiagray.com to start selling or buying used panties now.
If you're a fan of the podcast, we hope you'll subscribe on your favorite podcast streaming platform. You can also leave us a review on Apple Podcasts to let us know what you think. And while you're at it, feel free to share your feedback or questions by sending an email to podcast@sofiagray.com. Until next time, I'm Tracy Buzz.
And I'm Lacey Bloom.
And we're here to say, let them be kinky. There is no kink shaming here.